kind of an overall approach. We're big on athletics, academics, and social. I mean, we're not trying to just train an athlete. We're trying to train a person and try to get to develop our student athletes into great people for when they leave college.
First thing they need to do is they need to look at schools that are realistic for them and kind of look at their skill level and compare that with where the universities are in different rankings and pick 10 to 20 schools that they might be interested in, really broad in the beginning, and then start emailing those schools and then start narrowing it down once they start getting correspondence. Obviously we are recruiting earlier nowadays, and so good communication with the coaches is really essential, but having those kids reach out, make phone calls, and every time they send an email I always ask kids to put their graduation year in the subject line of the email, because that really helps us college coaches out figure out where they are in the recruiting process.
The top schools in the country are typically looking for the top level 10s and elites that are already at that level at a very young age. But I think it's important for the young kids that are coming up to be realistic about what their opportunities and potentials are going to be. And I think that there are a lot of schools in the country that are going to have a lot of opportunities, and it's important to kind of keep your options open and not narrow down to such a small pool when we're doing it at such a young age that people don't really ultimately know, how far they're going to continue to develop in the sport.
I mean, think about what you want out of your university experience. What type of education are you looking for? What type of program are you looking for? Be realistic, with the expectations of yourself and what you're looking for. Do your research and compile a good size list, and then start contacting those coaches. Send out your YouTube links. Videos are really important to me. It's the only way that you can get in front of me, consistently without me being at your gym all the time. I love to get flooded with emails that say, "Hey coach, look at my new video that I just uploaded to my website or my YouTube page." Calling us, have personal conversations, I think is really important. We can't call you, you can call us, but there's something to be said about a personal phone conversation and hearing your voice and getting to know you on a little bit deeper level than just through an email, I think is very important too.
We always tell them to look at our routines we're competing now, what kind of athlete we have on our team, and we're always trying to get better. So, in terms of skill level, that's where we're trying to compare to a little bit. And what's competing at the national championships, because that's everybody's kind of goal, is to get there. So is your level at that spot, or where are you at right now, and how do you fit into our program? So it's kind of tricky in that way, because you're always trying to replace the athletes who are graduating, but you're also trying to grow your program in a little bit. So your skill level it matters when trying to compare yourself to the rest of the country.
College coaches are looking for a combination of competition footage that will show consistency in meets and in competition, especially the higher level meets. But we're also looking for some of the practice footage that's going to show skills that you're training that are in the works that you might be close to doing that are not quite in the routines as of yet. Because again, we're looking down the road in terms of how we think people are going to continue to develop. So I think the training stuff is as important as the competition. But it's not the only thing. The competition footage and demonstrating consistency under pressure in competition is also vital.
Maybe not so many pit landings or foam pit landings, but just making sure that there's some basics with some of their good gymnastics, and that they're constantly sending us updates, probably monthly if they're very interested in our program. But just making sure that the things that they are sending us are at least close to being in competition ready. Because we get lots of videos of just landing the double back in a foam pit, and those are things that we just would like to see a little farther along in the process.
We like stuff that's as close to competition ready as possible. Obviously, stuff that you're doing on a tumble track maybe isn't quite super important to me. Stuff that's tumble track into a foam pit or single rail into a foam pit, unless it's a new release or something like that. But competition footage is always good. Half routines, skills that are as close to a competition setting as possible.
Looking at details, and that's something that we try not to lose in college gymnastics. Hitting the handstands, pointing their toes, sticking their landings. Every single day that stuff matters, and what we try to teach our college kids is that every turn counts. You want to save your body and be really efficient in the gym and not take too many timers or not take too many mistakes before you hit the assignment that you need to hit. In addition to that, we want to make sure that every single day they're really having an emphasis on the skills that they're going to be competing in their routines, but also not losing the basics. continuing strong conditioning and making sure their endurance stays up. That way when they transition to college, it feels like just a regular workout and not something that they're not used to.
Their basics and their foundation. You know, I think that if you don't build that, you can't build on your higher level skills. And you know, even when you have higher level skills, you can't forget to work on those basic things. There may come a point in time in your gymnastics where you get injured and you have to take a few steps back. And if you don't have that strong foundation, you have nothing to go back to. And you know, for me as a coach and having coached club for such a long time, you know, that's probably one of the most important things. And when I'm in a gym, I look at those things. You know, I look at the way you warm up. How do you walk into practice? And are you all about business? You know, from the get-go. How important are the turns that you're taking? I think those things, those qualities really stand out to me when I'm watching a young gymnast work out in the gym. You know, the big skills are amazing, and we certainly need those, you know, for our teams to be successful. But it's those other, sometimes boring qualities, you know, that are very important.
The work ethic for us is just like taking thousands and thousands of turns, making sure that they want to get up in line, that they're not sitting in the back, that they're the first people in front of a line, that they're just working hard, making their turns count, and just making sure that every turn that they take is, you know, crucial to making some changes of getting better.
An official visit, I think, is incredibly important. I don't know how you could possibly make a decision at such a young age if you haven't gone out and toured campuses and gotten to have some face time with the coaching staff to really see what the program is all about. You know, unfortunately, recruiting is very early, and sometimes you're forced to be in a position as a young ninth grader to make a decision. And if you haven't had the opportunity to get out and see those campuses, you know, you may not be making the best choice for you. So I think those visits are very important.
Yeah, I think that camps like this are very important, and it's an opportunity for the collegiate coaches to kind of come in from all over and check out and see the training in a 2-day format. Again, that's more of just kind of a one-shot deal, and it could have been a good day or it could have been a bad day. So these training camps I love. I just wish they would spread them out a little bit more so that we would have an opportunity to get to more of them than we do. But I think the training camps have been incredible.
I mean, I love when kids come to our summer camp. I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to get to know what type of kid they are. A great way for us to get to know their personality a little bit and kind of see them come out of their shell. Because oftentimes when we go into the gyms and we watch them train, we can't talk to them and we don't get to see much of their personality. So I think it's great for kids to come to camps. And then when I'm watching camps, it's awesome to see kids take multiple repetitions and not just that one turn on YouTube that they might have caught, that one perfect release move, but just to see the number of turns that they take and how consistent they are.
Somebody who really still has a passion for the sport of gymnastics. We want to continue to coach and teach and have our athletes continue to grow in the sport and not become stagnant. So,
how you interact with your teammates and your coaches, your attitude matters. And that's a big part of being a team member when you get to college, and we always look at that. We're always evaluating that kind of participation.
I mean, I know that I'm looking for athletes that are passionate about gymnastics, athletes that are continuing to up their skill level and wanting to still learn new skills, kids that are just hungry to get into the gym and work hard. I'm obviously looking for strong academics. I mean, we obviously take student-athlete really seriously, and we want to make sure that the kids are getting a great education. And then I'm always looking for kids that are coachable and kids that are willing to make adjustments, because it is hard getting used to a new coaching staff and a new team and a new environment. So we're looking for kids that have that adaptability and are looking forward to working with the new staff.
You know, we want to bring passionate people into our program that are passionate about gymnastics, passionate about learning, you know, want to continue to get better, not just come in with what they have and coast for 4 or 5 years, but actually grow as a person and as a gymnast. You know, and we're also looking for artistry. You know, my wife Liz and I coach together. We love beautiful artistic gymnastics and form, and those qualities are really important to our program, and we certainly look for those in recruits.
One of the number one things that jump out to me is probably personality. Would be one of the main things is just making sure they're a right fit and chemistry for our team. That's a really big part of when we bring kids in, is they have to fit the team. The team also has, I guess they do have input on who we take and who we don't take, because when they come visit, they really need to fit into the team and feel like that they could be a gopher here, even though our kids might be gone by the time they come in. We really want to keep the same culture and keep that moving forward and keep trying to advance in trying to create just an all-around good person as they leave our university.